Alright, hey guys, or hey fools, we got another installment of the Foolin Around podcast series. We are currently walking around the back trails of Anagene Cumming Park. I know the first couple episodes we were just running around the park, but now we are actually around the trails where actually me and my old cross-country team we used to run. And speaking of which, we have my old cross-country teammate, Mr. Juan, with us here today. Can you elaborate a little more how we know each other?
Yeah, so we met, I know it was in high school because I didn't know you in middle school.
Did we meet in O'Reilly's class first?
I don't remember specifically. I just remember because I was hanging with a certain group of friends like Reed, and I think just through mutual friendship, like you just kind of got absorbed into it.
Yeah, we had our...
kind of we got to know each other. And I think also too, we might have had maybe some classes together, maybe not, but I know definitely where we got to know each other more was just doing cross country, right? Because that was the sport was the sport that I got into right away. Yeah, I mean, we've known each other since then, and you know, went through track meets and cross country meets together. So all like 4 years doing cross country and track, like we've always shared that with each other, right?
Yeah.
For the good and the bad, you know, and yeah, ever since then we've maintained our relationship from, you know, on and off. But I think for us, it's like, even though we may not see each other for long periods of time, but like when we do get to see each other, and at least with my other friends from high school, it's just like, oh, like it feels like nothing really has changed, and it's just like catching up and just hearing, you know, what we've been up to, right?
Yeah.
So, which I appreciate, I think, from all of us, from, you know, from high school and then on, just to have that sort of relationship, right? Where it's not like we have to constantly like
keep in contact,
keep each other updated, and it's just it just feels natural that way. So
yeah, so I'll say, kind of going off that, like, what have you been up to, like what are you doing career wise, what's your prior experiences in?
Yeah, so right after, and I think maybe this will kind of explain how I got to be where I am right now. So right after college, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. Through my undergrad career, I had done a lot of experience in the clinical setting and healthcare, and I enjoyed aspects of it, but I think for me to pursue medicine, because I think that was like the thing to strive for, right? I think, and it's just at the time working in it and being around people with doctors, it just didn't feel the thing for me. Like, I truly wish I did, but I think there was just something that I didn't really connect with, and I didn't want to pursue something like my 20s for something that I'm not really 100% devoted to, right?
Yeah.
So right after that, I came back here home and worked as a case manager for a fatherhood program and helping dads build better relationships with their family members, with their kids, with the co-parents. So, and that really taught me a lot about just the complexities of families and people, and it just taught me a lot about interacting with other humans and my own perceptions of what certain people are. I worked with dads in prisons, and that in itself was a very humbling experience. So I work for Big Brothers Big Sisters now, which is a youth mentoring organization. We provide mentoring services for youth in the community. And that particular agency, what we do there, I think really resonates with a lot of my own personal experience in terms of trying to influence others for the better. And I think, you know, growing up in Santa Cruz and going through like the education system that I went to, it made me really take a look at, you know, why is it that I'm like the only one, like one of the few who are in like these like honor classes or like AP classes, right? and like made me really think like, you know, what made the difference, right? That I'm in this position as to other classmates in the school who could be just be in the same position that I am, and you know, didn't really see myself as any better or any worse than them. And so really thinking back about what were those influences that really allowed me to get to where I am, right? And I think a lot of that has to do with mentoring. Like if you surround a person with positive role models and people who believe in you, that can have such a profound effect on somebody else who is questioning whether or not they're good at something or not, right?
Yeah.
Whether they believe in themselves and be able to achieve something in life. And I think for me, I had not only my parents, but family, friends, and even friends who just helped me be in that sort of space and environment to allow me to be the best that I can be, right?
Yeah.
And so for that reason, I know that mentoring works and can really affect somebody else for the better, and that's why I continue doing what I do at Big Brother Big Sisters, and I've enjoyed it ever since I've been on board with the team. And right now I'm program manager of the agency, and it's nice to be able to develop and start initiatives that I feel very passionate about and feel like could definitely help our matches be better off.
Yeah. No, nice.
So, yeah.
No, thanks. So to get into the nitty-gritty of it a little bit, what would you say is a cause or issue going around right now that you feel like doesn't really get the, you know, the attention that it deserves in the news right now?
I think what comes to mind right now is understanding trauma and just adversities in life. Specifically, a term that I like to use is called ACEs.
Okay.
It's an acronym that's used by public health officials as well, just in the public health setting, which stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences.
Okay.
And which talks about, well, ACEs is how it came about was trying to figure out why certain individuals were obese, and so researchers interviewed these individuals, and a lot of what came out of it was this common thread that a lot of them had experienced abuse in their past. And so from there on, there was a larger study, and that's how the ACEs came about different experiences in your upbringing that can affect you as an adult. And I think especially now when we're in our homes, we're not out and about as usual, right? I think it made me think a little bit more about that just in general. Not per se myself and my own experience, but I think in the families that I've got to know, like how those experiences might get heightened because of this environment that we're living in now, right? This pandemic. So, and with that meaning like traumas and how they come up on a daily basis on certain times and occasions. So for example, let's say you had a traumatic experience, or maybe you were emotionally abused, right? And so that can, you know, really affect you as a child, and then later on when you are starting to develop relationships with other people, right? Sometimes that in itself can be really challenging, because if you had been
kind of like if you've had those problems in the past, then you might have those problems in the future with.
Exactly. In the past, in the future, or right now, right? Because I think often people don't pay attention too much on that, and they just tend to say, well, this was my past and I moved on. But I think oftentimes a lot of those experiences can be so,
or those problems can kind of leave scars that you can't really just get rid of unless you take the necessary treatment or
even the time, right, to heal. And I think it's important to notice when those things do come up, like whether it be behavioral changes, right, or emotionally, right, and how we process those. whether in a good or in a bad way, right? It can go both ways. And I just think about how a lot of these experiences really affect how we move throughout our days, our lives in general. And I hope that people are paying a little more close attention to that and try to do the best that they can to address it and accept it, right? Because I think the first step to heal, whether you feel like you have done it or not, is to acknowledge it, right? And accept for what it is, and know that these traumas and adversities are very common, and that, you know, we're not meant to be perfect, right? But I think it's how we react to those experiences and how we deal with them as we move forward in life is what's important. So ACEs, trauma, and with all of that, also changing the perspective of when you meet somebody else and you see like, wow, that person's really has a bad temper, or that person is like losing it, or like, why are they doing that? Do not say like what's wrong with that person, but more think of it like what happened to that person.
So no, I feel like I need to work on that myself. I think same thing with most people. I see that someone, if they're having a problem, I might just chalk it up to, well, that's how they are. I might not actually think, why are they acting that way? And I could probably be a little more empathetic to what they could be going through. All right, switching topics a little bit, but still kind of staying within the same realm. Is there a cause or issue that's maybe a little more close to you that you feel like other people should know about more?
I think what comes to mind, I think especially talking about that's what we've talked about and just traumas in general, is family relationships, right? Like, we often think about how families support us, right? And sometimes we may not be as willing to think about how they don't, other ways that they don't, right? And how we, as individuals, what are we doing to better those relationships, right? I think oftentimes we get too complacent in how things are and just accept it as it is, as opposed to really challenging yourself and saying, well, do I really want this to continue on, or can I see this family dynamic in a better place, right? And I think with the pandemic and just being so close to home, I think has really allowed me to pay close attention to more on that, and find ways to better my relationship with my parents, with my siblings, and it can be challenging. And I think it is challenging in general, because you are, not only do you have to think about yourself, but you have to address, how can you help that other person also come to a place where they're also willing to change, right? So that has been, I think, a challenge for me, but in a good way, because I do see my relationships with my family members growing in a positive and better place. And I hope that I can do that in this upcoming year and thereon forward. But and so I think that's something that
thanks for expressing that. And then I'll say to end this little thing with us, what would you say are your current goals, either immediate, either resolutions or till you die,
I think one of them for sure, which is what I just talked about, is improving my relationships with my family members and extended family as well. I was fortunate enough to be able to see an aunt and uncle and a couple cousins this this past year who I haven't seen in over a decade, which is very good in many aspects, not only for myself, but just I think it helps improve the relationship with my mom, and my mom with that family. So I hope to be able to do more of that, if it's safe, right? Of course. In this upcoming year, I want to be able to develop more positive and healthier habits, and not do it from like, okay, this next day I have to do all these things, but in a more sustainable way that I can see myself doing it for the long term, right? And for that, I have to do something that I can see myself doing every day. It just has to be just slightly better than nothing at all, right? So whether that be like going, even on days that I feel like I don't want to do anything, right? If I can just get myself to be outside for at least like 10 minutes, right? Something so simple, like I don't even have to do anything, but I think that in itself can help me just motivate to just be more healthier in general, right? Be more present with those that I care about and love, meaning to not really be distracted by these other things that may be happening around me, but when I'm with my family or people that I care and love, to be present and not be distracted by the other things. I think there's a importance in being truly there for somebody else, right? And so I just hope to do better than I've done this year. So that's something I hope to improve upon. Just in general and in life, I think, right? We can always be a better listener.
Definitely.
So find more ways to be more creative. I think I appreciate you, Wes, that you're sort of doing this, and like seeing you know, do like this vlog and these videos. I think it's really inspiring, and so
Thank you.
I hope to do something related to that, hopefully at some point this year. And just because I think it's a good way to show your creativity and just to express yourself in a different way, right? So yeah, so I think those are my things that I look forward to 2021.
Oh yeah, thanks for sharing your thoughts with me for this podcast. I think Juan actually hit on this a little bit, but I'm very happy that he shared his experiences and his life with us today, and I hope you as my audience can learn a little bit from him as I did today. I think I'm gonna touch on this real quick just because I thought about it when Juan was talking, but like you said, we did grow up very close in high school. We had a very interconnected group of friends, either through cross country or that little library group that we had. But as with life, there's little obstacles here and there, and we haven't seen each other in probably about 2 years. I think the last time we saw each other, one of our other friends in that same group, he had a wedding in his backyard. He invited us, of course we went, and it was very nice to see everybody. But I haven't, like I said, I haven't seen Juan in a while. I'm glad that kind of through this creative space that I'm kind of jumping through, and it's giving me kind of a nice excuse to kind of help build on those relationships that I definitely care on a lot about. So with that, I think I got 3 more of these planned out for this week. A couple of them are with friends that I normally see a lot. A couple of them are friends like Juan that I just, you know, just haven't seen in a while, but I'm definitely looking forward to probing their mind and picking their brain a little bit. So with that, as always, thanks to everyone who's taken the time to watch my video so far. I really appreciate it. And with that, till the next one.
And I think a part of that I have to
Hello. so much more hardworking than makes me feel so bad.
you know.
Even the dog's working harder than us.
Blue. His name is Blue.
Oh, is he your neighbor? Or?
His name is neighbor.
Oh.
Hi, Blue.
So cute. Did you go to Soquel? No. I was like, do I not remember him?